pure God power. Get everything you ever wanted and live the life of your dreams. The Master's Course. Copyright 2010 by Richard Lee McKim Jr. All rights reserved. Let the quest for knowing begin. Imagine a musical band. In this band, there is a singer, a drum player, a piano, a lead guitar, and a bass guitar and a trumpet. Each of these instruments, including the singer, puts out its own set of frequencies that are changing, but within the range of that instrument. A drum puts out a different range of sound than the guitar or the trumpet, and definitely different than the singer. But when they create a song, it has its own frequency as a whole, even though it's made up of many different frequencies put together. That is the essence of matter. It is composed of molecules, which are composed of atoms, which are composed of electrons, neutrons, and protons, which are composed of yet smaller parts, all of which have their own frequency at their level of existence. Just as the guitar has its own frequency, it is part of a song, which is part of a movie, which is part of the theater experience, which is part of a person's individual experience, and it just keeps going and going. However, even if you are in the movie theater watching a movie with all the dialogue and action, you can still listen for and hear the sound frequency of the guitar playing in the song playing in the background of the scene. Even though the frequencies are more complex, they still contain and are able to represent all of their basic elements. Nothing is ever lost in the whole. When you listen to a song as a single frequency, you can still experience and recognize any of the individual instruments that make it up. That is the basic understanding of frequencies and how they are gathered to form greater and yet greater situations and objects. The universe is made up of, first, energy, formed into smaller particles than we will ever know at a certain frequency, then after many untold levels, finally form electrons, neutrons, and protons, which is where we begin to understand the universe, which then forms atoms, all of which have their own frequencies at their own level. Then, eventually, they form molecules and matter and planets and solar systems and universes. While they each have their own frequency and quote-unquote song, they are also adding unto the greater and bigger picture until it becomes the universe. And just like the different sound elements of a song come together to form one song, all the elements and frequencies of the universe come together to form the universe, or quote, one verse, unquote. Chapter 4, Frequencies and Meaning. Chapter Review. Frequencies are second only to energy as the basic building blocks of the universe. Meanings create frequencies which cause energy to vibrate at certain rates. Frequencies range from the highest vibrations, which are unseen and immeasurable, to the lowest ones, which can be seen as light, heard as sound, and felt as movement. Frequencies are added together to form more and more complex frequencies. Frequencies have the power and ability to form energy into matter and circumstance. Frequencies are the genius of creation because they convey so much information. The entire universe is a single, very complex frequency known as the one verse. Chapter 4, Frequencies and Meaning. Chapter Quiz. All right then. Question number 1. Frequencies and combinations of frequencies are the basis of what? A, all matter. B, all circumstances. C, the universe. Or D, all. Frequencies and combinations of frequencies are the basis of what? The answer is D, all. All matter is a combination of frequencies. There's a frequency that creates an electron. There's a frequency that creates a proton. There's a frequency that creates a neutron. When they are together, within a certain combination of a certain number of protons, a certain number of neutrons, and a certain number of electrons together, that has a frequency. And that forms a particular atom. And when that atom is connected with another kind of an atom and they create a molecule, then they're forming matter. So matter is a combination of frequencies. You take the elements, you form them together, and you create matter. So definitely A, all matter. Circumstances are absolutely created by frequencies. Circumstances are the same thing as matter, but in a non-physical way. Frequencies and combinations of frequencies, meanings, create circumstances in the same way as they create matter. Somebody could take a rock, or say water, and say the meaning of that little mass of energy, which is now representing itself as water, is now wine. And you've changed the matter from water to wine, okay, by changing its meaning. Circumstances, see, when you change the meaning, you change the frequency of it. When the frequency changed, what it was representing changed. So you take a circumstance. You say the circumstance is bad, and then you say, no, the circumstance is actually good. The moment you do that, you change the circumstance from being a bad thing to being a good thing. But it's a frequency. It's a meaning. So all circumstances, events, and situations are formed by frequencies. And the same way matter is, but it's non-tangible. It's not physical. It's not a physical form. It's a non-physical form. In fact, a frequency can make a sound. That's a non-physical form. In fact, you take a really, really high frequency, super high frequency, gazillion, the highest number you could imagine, cycles per second, and you probably have the basis of a neutron or a proton or an electron. But as the frequency slows down, it gets to a certain frequency, which becomes light that you can see. And then as the frequency slows down even more, it becomes sound that you can hear. And then when the frequency gets really, really, really slow, it's a vibration. You can feel it. You can put your hand on a table that's being rocked. That's a vibration. That's a frequency. You can feel that. And then pretty soon it gets so slow where you don't even have the ability to perceive it. But it's still there. See the universe? Absolutely. The universe, the one verse, is a combination of every frequency, every element, every aspect, every single scrap. And the entire universe together forms a single frequency called the universe. In the same way as you have a band, and you have the frequency coming from a horn, and the frequency coming from the drum, and coming from the guitar, and one coming from the singer, and all the elements, each have their own individual frequency. But when they're playing a song and singing a verse, then that music all together creates a single frequency. It's called the song. But even though it's a single frequency, you can listen to it and you can still hear the singer within that frequency. You can still hear the drum and the guitar. You can still distinguish the elements, but it's still a single frequency, a single verse. That's what the universe is. The universe is a single frequency of which it's a combination of all the elements that make it up. The universe comes from one verse. The one verse. So the answer is definitely D, all. Okay.
To continue, go to How to Use Your God Power, Chapter number 4, Segment number 3. Let your quest for knowing continue.